Welcome, everyone, to the Bee Shifter podcast. John Vance here, along with Josh Blum. And we are happy to have you here on this Labor Day. See, even when a lot of other people are off work, we're here working for you on this Labor Day. Happy Labor Day, everyone. And thanks for keeping the country moving, and especially those who are on duty today, sitting back, enjoying the podcast. We want to welcome one and all. Thanks for being here on the Bee Shifter podcast today. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great. It was a great weekend. College football, really back at it.
Yes.
So,
you're happy about that. And
Oh.
for the record, Josh is an Alabama fan, just in case you didn't know that. So either throw some good mojo Josh's way or give him some hell about that. How's the team looking this year for you?
I think it's going to be all right.
Yeah. New coach,
Saban leaving. I think still giving them a lot of nudging and help and direction. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. I'm an Alabama fan via both of my daughters went to school there, and one of them is still going to school there, and the other one is now working at UAB Birmingham. So yeah, that's how I became a Alabama fan 8 years ago. So once you're there and see that, it sucks you in. The environment, the facility, all of that. So
I'm surprised they haven't made you turn in your Ohio citizenship card.
No, there's a whole Crimsonati group from
really?
Cincinnati.
Wow.
Like a ton of Crimsonati people that tailgate down there. Cincinnati folks that went to Alabama, and now they've come back to Cincinnati, and they're working as doctors and lawyers and whatever around the tri-state area.
Exciting thing for us is we are on the countdown, man. It's a month away or a little less for the Blue Card Hazard Zone Conference right there in Ohio, in Sharonville, Ohio, outside of Cincinnati. And we are ready, man. I think that we are going to have a record crowd. We have the largest May Day workshop event ever held in the United States is being held at that conference. And certainly, I mean, talk about that a little bit, because we did have a couple of seats come open. It sold out, but then a few people had to drop out. So we have some availability there. What's going to happen at the May Day workshop?
Yeah, so I think we got 3 or 4 seats that came open. It was a travel conflict thing for, people, whatever, that had signed up. So the May Day workshop, it's our 2-day May Day workshop that we've run and offered 100 and something times now, in smaller groups. We're really looking forward to this one because we're still going to have the ability there, and we're going to break up into smaller groups for a lot of the group work that we do and the simulations. But it's going to be great having hundreds of forward-thinking fire service, officers, chiefs from Maine to California and Washington to Florida and north of the border from Canada, all in the same room talking about Mayday management and, Mayday prevention, and looking at line of duty death reports, and, talking a little bit about the work that FSRI is doing on some of the near miss stuff that they're doing. And I just think it's so important that at some point, we have to just quit having meetings to talk about what we're doing or what has happened, and we have to actually do something about it. We have to take action and do something about it. So there's no new ways. I mean, we're getting hurt and killed on the fire ground the same now as we have forever. So every one of these workshops we do, we take as an opportunity to try to change the mindset of the people who are attending, to get them to become critical thinkers and understand that the incident action plan that we're going to deploy has to be functional, but it also has to fit into the fire conditions. So you can't be offensive during defensive conditions, and really making good, sound decisions, not one size fits all. So yeah, we'll review, several line of duty death reports, look at the FSRI stuff. We'll end up running simulations in 3 different breakout groups. So we have much smaller groups when we're just running through the simulation piece. All of the instructors that are there at that have firsthand experience in line of duty death events, and all of them are now blue card users. So, they can talk about what happened and what happened within their organization and what they've done to, keep on track and keep moving forward and try to prevent these things from happening again. So, one of them we do is the Squirrel's Nest Lane fire. It happened right here in Colerain Township. Broxterman and Shira died in that basement, and we can't. I don't know how many basements we've died in, but it's too many. And, so many of them are exactly the same: through the door, through the floor, failure to identify the basement, sometimes operating just in offensive positions during defensive conditions. So yeah, we're really looking forward to those 2 days, October 1st and 2nd. And then the CERT Lab, September 30th, October 1st and 2nd is, oversold. So we kind of cut that off, but now we've had some more people want into it. So we're just helping those new organizations start to get some people certified that are trying to figure out what it really looks like. And then obviously the conference on the 3rd and 4th, we got 23 or 24 different facilitators, instructors, presenters. Dan from FSRI, Chief Lee, now retired, but talking about really decision-making and critical thinking at mid-rise fires. Shane Ray from the National Fire Sprinkler Association coming back because that's a big thing. Just last week, big sprinkler controlled fire here in the Cincinnati area. So the system works. So yeah, we're super excited. Like you said, John, much larger crowd than we've ever had before. So it's going to be a great gathering, great time to network. We got that Third Eye Brewing event on Thursday night. And then anybody who's there, we want everybody to take the time and reach out and talk to all the vendors that are going to be present there, because, them having space there helps us to offset and keep the price super reasonable for all of you that are attending. And then, some recent work that we're doing with building another relationship with somebody as we continue to move on is Waldorf University. So an opportunity for, talking to them. They're on site, and we're looking forward to that relationship, growing that and doing more and more with them as we, help to develop officers, not only on the fire ground, but at every level.
One of the things that Waldorf is going to be rolling out at the conference is special discounts for Blue Card users, and those discounts also go to your family. So they're going to give you a lot more information about that starting at the conference. The other thing that's rolling out at the conference, and then we'll end up, if you can't make it to the conference, we'll end up having a webinar third week of October on this, is the after action review module. I know you've been very pumped up about this. You and Eric and the rest of the team have worked very hard to get this after action review module together. Chris Stewart, part of it. I don't know who else I'm missing, but I cannot wait for this to go up and live. So just give us a little preview of what this AAR module is all about. And then, of course, at the conference, there'll be an entire class on it.
Yeah, so the after action reporting system, we actually rolled out like a prototype for people to look at last year at the conference. And it's one of those things where, we shut our old system down, and I'm thankful that we did, because it actually gave us an opportunity to make this AAR system so much better. So the after action reporting system prototype that we were showing everybody, I think people liked it. Everybody wanted to get online. I get emails still every week about, when's this thing coming out? Where's it at? What you showed us is fantastic. We don't have anything like that. We use a survey on a piece of paper, or it's the emotional event with the chief yelling at us, or somebody making up their own opinion of what they think should have happened or whatever. So there's thousands of hours already gone into this after action reporting system. And our goal, as Eric Phillips says all the time, our group's goal is, one, it has to be user friendly to firemen. It has to be relatively easy to use. Two, you have to be able to make and affect change from the information that you gather through this after action reporting system. And three, it's really just about the continuous improvement part. So we reinforce good behavior and try to correct bad behavior. So it's a tool where we can capture audio, we can capture video, we can capture pre-plans. Down the road, we're going to be able to do some extended survey work with it also, just so you could survey every company that was there. So the front end of it is more about the first arriving IC, division bosses, and strategic ICs, and really talking about, did you hit the benchmarks for, establishing command, evaluating critical fireground factors, deploying companies correctly, being in the correct strategy, calling for resources. So really, did you use the 8 functions of command properly, right? And then we're going to grow it further so that you could, within your own organization, you could do the survey work of gathering additional input from other companies that were there, that were working at the task level, and help to fix task level components and pieces, whether it's a hose deployment problem or an air management problem or communicating on the radio, whatever it is. So yeah, we're super excited to be able to roll this out at the conference. And like anything, this project also will remain in Command Function 7 for its entire life. And it's funny because it's after action reporting, which really we're doing a review, evaluation, and revision. And I'll just say that the program will always be in that same state, because we should always be in a state of fixing ourselves. So what can we do better? So yeah, we're super excited about that.
I am too. I think it's going to be great for continuous improvement, and what the end product is something that you can pass on to your department, right? In a training packet, however you distribute your training. Once all that information is put in, then everyone else gets to learn from that incident as well. Is that correct?
So somebody's going to have to do the work on reviewing the incident, but it's the work we already do, right? We do EMS Q&A on EMS reports. So this is similar. So the battalion chief or a training chief or whoever is going to do the review on these incidents based off of the audio that they have available, based off of some known information they have from people who were on the scene, some helmet cam video, dash cam video, thermal imaging camera video, pre-plans, things that we think are best practice within our own organization, and when it comes to deployment, and what our SOPs really say. So standard actions based on standard conditions, so that we have a standard outcome. It's going to have a presentation mode. So once it's built out, it'll kind of roll out and be in a format similar to like a PowerPoint. So you could send it out and people could look at every single component, of the incident, from the size up to assigning companies, to establishing a division, to a strategic IC, transferring command, to evaluating priority radio traffic, status changes, roof reports, all of the key components of Blue Card, which are so many of those things. I'll just reference back to the latest line of duty death report that just came out a few weeks ago that we pushed out to everybody and shared. When you look at that, it's pretty pointed at what some of those things are when it comes to decision making and communications and accountability at every level, task, tactical, and strategic level. So this tool will help us with that. And then, like you said, John, we'll be able to, within your own organization, you'll be able to share that across every shift with every person, and then they could review it themselves, or you could use it in presenter mode and present it to a shift, to review. And like we really started to out with earlier, right? It's a tool so that we can identify what can we do better, because that's what we should always be doing, is trying to do better.
So everyone will hear a lot more about this in the coming month or so. We'll have the official rollout sometime in October, we hope. Along with that, there will be a webinar that will instruct everybody on how to use it, to give you a little primer on that and what it's used for. And you'll see it at the conference. If you're at the conference, you'll get a sneak preview and get to learn in person on what the AAR module is all about. Well, today we are here to listen to some audio. Really proud to bring this one to you. This is from the fire department I started at in 1991 and fought my first fire at. And I got to tell you, back in 1991, command was a little sketchy there. But over the years, especially once Chief Schabel got in, we started refining our command process. And Clay Fire Territory brought Blue Card in 2008. So they've been one of the early adopters. This is with a rescue. So we from time to time when we're either on the road or we get the keyboard warriors that like to think the Blue Card isn't about a rescue. I think this audio is and the what ended up happening at the incident is a great illustration of how you put the system into use and use Blue Card, all of its parts. You can do rescue while also doing firefighting. So tell us a little bit about the audio that we're going to listen to today, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Clay Fire Department, for letting us share this and letting us share your successes that you have within your own organization. Because there's not a day goes by that I don't get an email from somebody saying, "Hey, can you send me some audio from a fire department that does Blue Card?" And we've been doing the podcast now for quite a while, and we got tons of audio, and I love sending it over to people because they get all of that negative negative vibe from some of the folks sitting in the dark room, the dark web behind the keyboard, just saying whatever they got to say because they don't even know what Blue Card is. And from Las Vegas to Cobb County, Georgia, to Vancouver, Washington, Clay Fire Territory, Deerfield, Ohio, Hamilton Township, Ohio. Not too long ago, we did one from the Columbus, Ohio area. And I know I'm forgetting people, but I just wanted to name a few because we have tons of audio, right? And I think we've had like 7 or 8 rescues that we've used now just in the last 12 months, John. So the difference is it's all coordinated and communicated clearly. And we're making sure that we're hitting every component and objective that we should, not just with some single isolated mind frame. So, so many people get wrapped around Blue Card as a communications program, and communications is one of 8 functions of command. And really the communications part of it is just where you communicate your incident action plan, your strategy, deployment. What exactly are we doing here? I communicate the review, evaluation, revision, right? I use communications and say priority traffic when the incident action plan isn't working and I have something negative to report. So in this case, we hear so many pieces from Clay of, Blue Card being used just as it should be, and really best practice based on the 2nd edition of Fire Command and command safety. And, as you said, John, Clay, very early adopter of Blue Card. You guys were doing some command training before Blue Card even really, came around. Some, forward thinking, like what do we do with training command officers? So 2008, I think that's when the first the trainer was actually at Clay. And then, the Brunicinis about lived there for, several years, as it was being refined, because we always live in a state of fixing ourselves. What we were doing before, what we were doing yesterday, if we can do it better today, then by golly, that's what we should be doing. And that's why Blue Card is in its, I've lost track, 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th, 15th revision, right? Because version number 1, I remember sitting in the trainer, it's like, there's no basements. And it's like, well, we got to fix that right now. So basements gets fixed, right? And then over the years, all these other things get fixed to address all the critical factors that people see all across the country. And now, even the ARF piece, right? We've added ARF module that'll be coming out because that's a little bit different than the residential stuff. So Clay Fire Department, 5 stations, they got 2 battalions on duty. Their admin chiefs, make runs. They live in the district, so if they're available, they make runs. Everybody's trained with the system. Their SOPs mimic, the system. They're not afraid to make a change and say, hey, we can do this better. I know the chief that was there till not too long ago, had you better be doing everything right when something goes wrong. And I think when your organization, strives for that and pushes for that every day, then, it helps us to be successful too, that we're not out there taking risk that doesn't need to be taken. So In this case, residential, single family, working fire. I will say it's a non-hydrated area, so I love throwing that out there because sometimes we also get well, it's a Phoenix Fire Department system. It came from Phoenix, and it's like, well, the water supply, no matter how you get it, you just have to get it, right? Whether you have a pressurized system or you don't. Well, in Clay, 50% of the area, 40% of the area, doesn't have pressurized water. So they've done some things in building out really in command function one deployment, but how they buy apparatus to make sure that their apparatus has the appropriate amount of water and that they're set up at the task and tactical level to address water supply. So you hear that on here. And I love hearing that because so many people are like, well, where's the water supply? Where's this? Where's that? How do you do whatever? And it's like, well, your own organization just has to figure out like what all of those parts and pieces look like. And we really don't tell you how to do that. We just say you need to have a sustained water supply. So in this case, they set up and had probably 7,000 gallons on the ground in, 7 or 8 minutes. And it's like, well, if I can't put out a 1,500 square foot house fire, quite frankly, as an old chief of mine used to say, if we can't get it with that 750 gallons, it's not worth fighting. So, it was just a line that he said, but I can appreciate that now, knowing what I know and oftentimes sitting on fires for a long time when 750 gallons doesn't get it right. So
I think the remarkable thing about this that we get asked about too a lot is what if the chief is the first one there? And in this case, it was an admin chief, the division chief of EMS was on his way to work. He happened to be the first arriver. So you'll also get to hear how that goes. So we'll take you to that audio right now. This is Clay Fire Territory in St. Joseph County, Indiana.
7 Waits Boulevard. Respond on fire ground 1. 7:52 hours.
Fire dispatch 206.
206.
On the scene, Wade Boulevard. We have a small single-story residence with smoke stowing. 206 will have Wait command. Companies will be offensive.
206 is on scene of a small single-story residential structure. Smoke is showing. 206 will be wait command. Companies will be in offensive.
Engine 22 command.
This is Engine 22, go ahead.
It's going to be the house to the east of my truck. Go ahead and pull out line for primary search and fire control. Tanker 22, level 1. Tanker 22, pull up and drop your porta tank. Copy, I'm dropping the porta tank.
Battalion 2, level 1.
Battalion 2 from command, where we dress out and take alpha.
Battalion 2, clear, I'm taking alpha. Manage 21, level 1.
Copy, engine 21. Wherever you come up, pull a second line off of engine 22 to the front yard. Let us know where to go once we figure out where we get make entry.
Medic 21, level 1.
Medic 21, we got to level 1.
Truck 21, level 1. Command from engine 22.
Engine 22, go.
360 complete. Got a fire in the back room. We're going into the front door.
Copy, engine 22, 360 is complete. Fire's in the back room and you're going in for the alpha side. Truck 21, command.
Go for truck 21.
Can you bring your personnel up? We'll have you go on deck alpha.
Clear on deck alpha, truck 21.
Engine 21, command.
Go engine 21. Or go command for engine 21.
Right now, can you guys just help engine 22 getting that line in place? We'll keep that second line in the front yard.
That's affirmative. We're doing that right now. Command from engine 22, priority traffic.
Engine 22, go.
We got a victim. We're going to be getting them out the front door. We need engine to come in behind us. Put the fire out.
Copy, engine 22 with the victim coming out the front door. Engine 21, take the place of engine 22. Medic 21, command.
Go ahead.
Position your ambulance and come to the front yard with the cop for patient care.
Medic 21, copies. Front yard for
Fire dispatch from Wait command.
Wait command.
Can you upgrade the alarm?
Clear.
engine 23 is level 1.
Copy, engine 23. Maybe bring your crew up to go on deck alpha side.
Clay engine 24. Medic 24. 7 Wait Boulevard. Structure fire. Residence 19,097 Wait Boulevard.
Respond on fire ground 1-800 hours.
Okay, on deck, Alpha Fed. Truck 21, command.
Truck 21, go.
Truck 21, I'm going to have you assist with the victim removal if Medic 21 needs any patient care.
Clear on victim removal. Yeah, Battalion 2 on the place.
Clear Battalion 2, you're in place. You have Engine 21 on fire attack, Truck 21, and Engine 22 on the victim removal. Medic 21 is coming up for patient care. We also are going to have Engine 23 on deck.
Command, Truck 21, victims removed. Medic needs 2 people to go.
Clear on the victims been extricated. Truck 21, just stay with Medic 21 and send your personnel.
Wake command, fire dispatch.
Go ahead, dispatch.
First 10-minute notification.
Clear on 10 minutes. We're still offensive.
Engine 24 is level 1.
Copy, Engine 24, level 1. Bring your personnel up. We'll have you go on deck in the front yard.
Clear on deck, front yard.
Medic 24 is going to be level 1. Copy, Medic 24. Come up and set up rehab in the front yard to the west of the house.
House, that's Engine 21. We're coming after a cycle. We have all clear to the first floor. Fire during control.
All right, let's start off there with that initial radio report. As we pointed out before we started rolling audio, from a division chief on their way to work. So it wasn't even somebody who's part of the daily response, but part of the overall response for the department.
Yeah, so I think it just shows that everybody in their organization operates from the same plan, and they're all trained and they're all using the system, right? So there was no confusion, standard terminology. So that chief gets there, does a good size up based off of what he's going to do, right? And then the next communication, he made it very clear to that engine what he wanted them to do. So if you were following the communications board, really, he hit every single box in the initial radio report. It's just how it came out, right? So he wasn't a task level unit getting there saying what he was going to do on an engine. He was a chief getting there, giving a size up, and then just telling the engine, what he wanted them to do and really what was going on. I don't want to I want to talk about the dispatch piece here a little bit, because that initial radio report was solid, and then dispatch verbatim, word for word, following the order model, repeated it back, right? So, that's so important, I think, on the front end, so that everybody gets to hear the critical factors of what is going on there, and then what are we doing to work through and solve the problem. So we deploy in our system based off the critical factors. So if I got example, I got a fire on the first floor, I'm not taking a hand line to the third floor. I'm not doing a bunch of extra work, just because, right? So that was really good. So all those companies, are getting assigned. This was like 6 or 7 minutes of audio, but was really over about a 14-minute span. So, that was really compressed, because all of the airtime that was in between each transmission was gone. The only thing we listened to was when the radio was keyed, and every transmission that they had was a valuable piece for everybody on the response. So, companies, are piling in there. Yeah. Level 1, it sounded like, but really that was over, a pretty big span of time. So Engine 22 got their assignment to get a line in primary search fire control. And they're doing primary search and fire control, and they find a victim on the way to find the fire to put it out, because, that's what search should start with. Is the search starts with, we're going to find the fire, put it out, and then work back from the most hazardous spot. So they were doing both primary search and fire control. And before they got to the seat of the fire, they found a victim. Because the system was in place, they were putting somebody on deck to be next. They were stretching another line. They were able to get a company right behind them. So before I jump ahead too far, we heard tanker 22, level 1, and command gave them that assignment, drop your tank right there. And in their system at that point, they had more than enough water on the ground sitting there for the building size and the fire, load that they had going. So, they had an adequate water supply, established there. So we hear that transmission from Engine 22 with priority traffic that we got a victim and then gave some good needs, right? We're coming out the Alpha side, and then what they needed as far as, hey, we need somebody to still come in here and put this fire out. Well, that next due company behind them, heard that they were already getting the hand line off and going to the front door on the Alpha side. So it was real easy for them just to pick that up and to become fire attack while they were bringing the victim out. So we heard truck 21 get assigned on deck. So now they're right there in position to get the next assignment. They had a fire in a room, but now they got a victim. So truck 21 worked with medic 21 and supported them. And we hear them communicate, hey, they're going to need 2 people to go to the hospital. So command, very clearly just said, okay, we'll take you out of service. You just go ahead and go with them. And then as we listen through all of the rest of it, we got EMS assigned. We still got companies back into the on deck position. We heard a status change from engine 21 that we have an all clear of all of the rest of the first floor, which that's all it was. And we have fire under control. So those are 2 of the benchmarks, right? And as a strategic IC, you're sitting there seeing this building. So you're seeing what's going on with the conditions. So Battalion 2 got assigned in there, right? In the mix of it. And, some people could talk about that. I don't assign a battalion because the work wasn't there, or I only do it if there's more than 3 companies, right? So, in so many systems that, they exercise it, because if you don't, the more you exercise it, the better off you're going to be with it, right? And as long as the division boss stays in their lane and stays at the tactical level and does division boss work, then it's fine. And in this case, I'm sure the incident commander was happy that he assigned a division boss and had somebody in Alpha that was now face to face and could handle those companies that were there on the Alpha side. So command did a fantastic job of giving Battalion 2 the rundown of these are the units that are working for you. And Battalion 2 had already known what the assignment was going to be, where they were going, didn't know who was going to be working for him exactly, but heard all of the work that was happening and heard the victim part of it, right? So getting that middle level division boss there, so important for, accountability purposes. It drives down radio traffic. It's that feel it, taste it, touch it, as I like to say, for the division boss. It's just another layer. So this is a 100% for the Clay Fire Department, in my view. And clearly they proved and showed here, not that they have to prove or show anybody anything, but they prove that they are using the system, to its fullest. And you don't have events like this where, as Chief Lester would say, the 3 C's, right? That incident commander definitely, he gets the 3 C's. So, great job.
One of the things that we always talk about is if we find a victim, upgrading that alarm. And that's been true of every department I've ever been with. It was true at Clay 12 years ago when I was working there. And he did it. He automatically knew, hey, I'm gonna have a medic and probably a company out of commission. I need more resources here, even though the fire problem was something that they could control. But he knew automatically, because that's what was discussed ahead of time, and that's the way they train and practice. Is, hey, I need somebody else here, at least another wave of personnel and equipment, and calling for that was very important. And that was that medic 21 and engine 24 that got there rather quickly. The other thing is, and Steve Lester and Grant Light and I were talking about a couple podcasts ago about the staff chiefs that don't train, because we see systems out there where the staff chiefs will respond, but they are so far outside of the orbit of the rest of the department that their presence really just causes chaos, because they're not speaking the same language, or the command system they fall back into using was the 1997 command system the department used, and they're not at all up to date on what's going on with Blue Card. And a lot of times these folks have gone to Blue Card training, but because they don't do their ongoing training, they fall back to what they know or what they're most comfortable with. And in this case, I think was a good example after we kind of dished on maybe office chief should stay in the office a couple weeks ago, that this is an office chief that is more than welcome on the fire ground because they actually train like everybody else does, and they participate in the ongoing training, and they make sure that they're up to speed. So Chief Kraft, who's their division chief of EMS, did a wonderful job here as the first arriver, keeping it cool and calm, and not getting out of sorts when he discovered it was a fire. It was not dispatch with entrapment. I think the entrapment was something that the company found when they went in, so it wasn't something they were expecting, but everything just flowed because they used the system, they worked with the system, they practiced the system all the time. So calling that priority traffic once the victim was located really wasn't a surprise to anybody, and they just used the system to make it work and get that person out.
I don't know that anybody expects to find the victim, right? But in this case, it sounded like, right, that they expected to find a victim, which that's just because of the system, right? They practice the system. They're comfortable with it. They go through sets and reps with it. And they remain calm. That priority traffic was no different than them calling priority traffic for a fire in the attic, right? It was very clear. The transmission wasn't garbled. Command heard it on the first time that they transmitted. The whole prefacing your report is important, because when you say priority traffic and it means something, everybody's like, oh, what does this mean? Because if I'm on deck, I'm probably going to be doing some work, right? Whereas so often, some of the other things, urgent and emergency traffic, gets abused, right? And they start screaming urgent because they just want priority on the radio for whatever reason, right? And I'm going to go back to we're professionals, and we should never be screaming on the radio. We should be professionals, right? Calm and competent in our job duties. So yeah, great job here by Clay Fire Department, as I would only expect.
All right, it's time now for a timeless tactical truth. And today's timeless tactical truth from Alan Brunacini: measurements should give the participants self-control. I think talking about our measurement of the AAR module and the other ways that we measure success using Blue Card, this one could be talked about. Measurements should give the participants self-control. What kind of measurements would help give a participant on the fire ground activity self-control, Josh?
I think it comes down to, first of all, with me, this is a positive reinforcement thing, right? So how well somebody's doing, and making sure that we're positively reinforcing good behavior, but that we're willing to work on and fix, behavior that's not so good. And then really the way that we do that, when we say bad behavior, I always like to throw in that really we're being nice to people when we're fixing bad behavior, because we're trying to help them, right? We're trying to build their confidence. So you didn't do, if we start something off negative all the time, we're not going to be very successful, right? If it's always negative. So, with the after action reporting thing, 90% of this looks really good, but again, you didn't say strategy. So we really need to work on that. So we're going to focus and work on, as an organization, that we make sure we declare strategy, or we don't do very well with making a resource determination. So we're going to work on that. So identifying things that we're doing well and not abandoning those when it comes to training, but basically reinforcing those things that we're doing well, but then really giving focus to things that we need to do better. And I think a piece of that measurement is how do we identify what we can do better? And it doesn't have to be failure. And I'm so tired of hearing, well, nobody got hurt and the building didn't burn down. And it's like, geez, is that where we're at? Really? in my part of the world, you get paid $100,000 a year to be a firefighter paramedic, and that's your statement. And it's like, no, we should be in a state of always trying to do better. So whether it's getting our mask on faster, getting a line stretched faster, communicate, being calmer on the radio, given more concise, clear assignments, being more comfortable talking on the radio when we're on a mask, using all the equipment we have available. So I think there's so many things that really, fit into this. But I think when you talk about measurement, a piece of it with this tactical truth anyway, measurement of, okay, that's good. It makes people feel good. And we're going to keep doing that. And then really what I hit on, this is what we're going to do better. Not that we failed, not that we suck, not that this was the worst thing in the world, but saying, hey, we can do better. Right. And, whenever we reach a point in our organization where we're like, oh, we can't do no better, then it's time to hang it up, because you're sliding on a slippery slope.
All right. Well, that wraps up this B Shifter podcast. We want to wish everyone a happy Labor Day once again, and hopefully you had a happy and safe Labor Day weekend as we go forward into the new week. Have a great week. We'll be back here next week. We want to thank the Clay Fire Territory for giving us the audio today that we listened to. Excellent job. And until next time, thanks so much for listening to the B Shifter podcast.